So if you're new to the channel, welcome. Thanks for watching the video. A little backstory. This motor over here was originally in that truck right there. And I thought it had some bad lifters or a bad cam in it. I thought it had wiped itself. So in the previous couple videos I've done, I've rebuilt that motor, put an ISKI cam in the lifters, in the top end, brand new push rods, brand new timing chain, all kinds of stuff. And tried to break it in, and it sounded like there was a bunch of marbles inside the motor. And come to find out, I thought the top end was bad. That's why I put the new cam and lifters in there. And turns out it was actually the bottom end. I'll also throw a little clip in here now of what it sounded like. And you can see how much bearing play was in there from basically the bearings just almost being disintegrated to nothing. So I'll throw that in now. So anyways, you can hear how horrible that sounded. That motor is trash. I'm not gonna use it. I got this roller block. It's a 1996 Ford Explorer 5.0 roller motor. And so I'm decided to go with this. Obviously roller is better than, that's a hydraulic flat tappet. So I'm gonna build this roller block. It can turn more RPMs and should be a fun little motor. It's got low miles on it. It looks great on the inside. So I think it's gonna be a solid motor for this truck. And should be a nice little street strip truck. I got 456 gears in the rear end with a 4-speed. And so once it's made it to this 5.0, should be pretty fun to drive. I've got a Ford Performance E303 cam for it. That's the specs right there if you're interested. And this is my box of goodies for the rebuild process. I got the stock lifters out. They look great, so I'm gonna go ahead and reuse those. And I got the block cleaned up. And I'm about to bolt these cylinder heads on there. I got some brand new Felpro gaskets. I'm a big fan of Felpro stuff. If you're interested in the part number for these, there you go, 9333 PT-1. Bought them off Amazon. They're 20 bucks a piece. They've worked great. I've used them in the past. So, yeah. Anyways, guys, this video is just going to be me rebuilding this motor and getting her slapped back in this truck and eventually firing her up and breaking in the cam. I don't know if I'm going to make it one long video or a couple parts. But if I do make it a couple parts, I'll put the links to the next video in the description below. And I'll probably compile them all at one point and make one long video if you want to just sit down and watch the whole thing together. But today is installing the cylinder heads, installing the cam, and I'm probably going to go ahead and paint the motor and then continue on from there. So thanks for watching. If you don't mind, hit that subscribe button so you can stay tuned to the channel and keep up with all the builds. I'm going to start off by throwing this cam in there. I got all the lifters installed, dog bones on. They're all nice and lubed up and everything went in smoothly. and should be good to go. Now I'm going to put my heads on since the lifters are in there, and then I'll torque them down and put the spider tray back in, and then start probably prepping this motor for some fresh paint. That way the insides will match the outsides. Fresh new on the inside, fresh new on the outside. Heads on, push rods in. I'm gonna go back and put a little bit of this assembly lube on each one of these push rods. That way it's got a little protection on startup. Just added insurance. Building motors is all about looking out for yourself in the future. I'm no professional engine builder by any means, but I've done enough of them and watched enough people do them that the more insurance you put on a build, the better chance you got of it firing up successfully. This is the spider tray. It just bolts right in here, and it holds these dog bones down. Keep those lifters from walking. So after I get this thing in there, I am going to torque down these heads. And there's a specific sequence, so I'll show you that. But let me finish getting this windage spider tray bolted down, and then we'll jump to that. So the torque on these heads, final torque, is 65 to 72 pounds. I'm going to shoot for 70, but I'm going to do it in 2 steps. I'm going to go probably about 45 pounds, and then torque it to 70. And this is a critical torque, so don't mess around with it. You're gonna go in there's a sequence to this. Middle, out, 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 out. Pretty simple, but you're just making sure the head, let's try not to do it in front of the camera, but that way you guys can see, but I don't have to come around here. And just move over, go down. There you go. That's the gist of it right there. So I'm gonna throw it to time lapse and torque these all the way up to 70 and go back and check them. And the head should be good. Okay, I got my heads all installed. I'm gonna go ahead and install my cam retainer plate. It says back bottom on it, so it's kind of hard to screw it up installing it. But I'm gonna go ahead and install it with some Loctite on the threads of these bolts, because there's gonna be a lot of vibrations and harmonics going on in this area. And I don't want this thing backing off down the road. I'm just using some blue Loctite, not the super strong stuff. These are little bolts, so if you ever got to take it back off, if you use the high strength stuff, you might break these off in your block and create a bad day for yourself. So after you get your cam retainer plate bolted on, next order of business is getting your timing chain on there. It's got two gears, one that goes on the crankshaft and one that bolts to the actual camshaft itself. And what you're looking for is there's two dots on each one of these gears. You want to have your motor set at top dead center. And when you put these gears on, you want these two dots to line up perfectly with each other. And sometimes it can be a little bit of a dance getting these things on here. Push that one in, push your bottom one in. There you go. You'll feel them seat correctly. But if you were to imagine a vertical line going straight up and down, those two dots are going to be in line with each other. And you got to make sure your motor is at top dead center. And then once you put your distributor in, you're going to set it at the number one, firing at number one spark plug, and everything should be timed correctly. You know, eventually you can go back, and once you got your harmonic balancer on there, you can adjust your timing, but this is going to set your initial timing. This is the bolt that's going to hold your camshaft on there. Again, I like to put a little bit of Loctite on there. You just don't want this stuff backing out on you. There's a lot of harmonics and vibrations in this area, so rather be safe than sorry. This is going to get torqued to 45 foot-pounds. There we go. One more just to make sure. And there you go. Timing chain is installed. So I think I'm going to pull this oil pan off and flip this motor over, douse it down with some brake cleaner, and start spraying her up. All right, time to get her cleaned up. Gotta get all the oil off this block. That way our paint sticks real good. All right, let's give this thing an extra 50 horsepower with an old Craigslist rebuild here. Oh yeah, I can see the horsepower increasing. All right, I got my timing cover all cleaned up and a new gasket put on. I like to put a little RTV, especially around these water jacket holes, and RTV on the gasket, just so it holds it for you. And just make sure that we'll get a good seal, hopefully. It's always the hardest part for rebuilding motors for me is trying to remember where all the daggone bolts go. Anyways, I'm gonna finish putting the rest of these bolts in and figuring out how this puzzle goes back together. And then that's your timing cover install, pretty easy. I'm gonna then install the oil pan, got that new Fel-Pro gasket, so should go back together nicely. I like to put a little RTV where the block and the timing cover meet, and a little RTV down here in these corners. I know you don't have to, but I think it helps and kind of keeps the gasket in place when you're putting the oil pan on there. And just, again, a little added insurance. These rubber seals are really good and way better than the old cork, but nothing wrong with a little added insurance. Y'all know the drill. Reinstall all the bolts you took out. All right, I got my little helper out here. We're gonna install the bottom pulley on the harmonic balancer. I'll get it.
It smells like paint.
Yeah, I just painted it. Let's get this water pump gasket on here.
Oh, so is this water pump gasket this thing in the bottom?
Goes right here. Yeah, it's just like that one. This one's the timing cover gasket. This one is the water pump gasket.
Okay.
And put a little bit of this on there around the water jackets.
What's
Because sometimes they like to leak.
What's that? Is that the blue stuff you were talking about?
This is RTV. It helps the gaskets seal up.
Does it feel weird?
Feels like glue, kind of. And the reason I put RTV on here is because this little area right here likes to corrode. Can get little pits in it and stuff. So again, this is just a little added insurance to make sure it doesn't leak. And I'm gonna put some up here just to kind of hold the gasket in place. All right, you can put that back on the table.
You were about to say shelf, weren't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Make sure we get it.
Do you have to like get it perfect?
Yep.
Or else
It's like fitting a little puzzle piece. There you go. Nice job, bud. Oh, come on, that one. Come on. Smack it hard. There, that's better. How about down low, like this? No, you hold yours still.
Ow.
There we go. All right. Y'all ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're going to torque down these rockers.
Question. What are the rockers?
These are your rocker arms.
So we're going to torque these down?
Yep. These are pedestal style rockers. So it's pretty simple to torque them down. Recommended torque is 15 to 20. I'm going to go probably about 22. Just give it a little extra. You can do whatever you want, but I already got this one torqued down. So when you know how to use a torque wrench, then you can set your dial right here to how many foot-pounds of torque you want to put. And when you get to that torque, it'll make that clicking noise.
Why does it make the clicking noise?
It's letting you know you're torqued it. All right.
Wait, so when
hold it right here.
So when we hear that,
tighten it up.
So when we hear that click,
when you hear the click, that means stop.
It.
You can bring it back this way. Put your hand all the way down here on the end, give you more torque. There you go. Oh, oh. As soon as you hear it click, stop.
Yes, sir.
I'll do the next one.
Oh.
All right, up. As soon as you hear it click, stop. All right, Briar, you try a couple on your side.
I did not realize how heavy this was. The first one?
Mm-hmm. Pull it back down. There you go. Wherever you have the most strength. Come on, you got it. You can do 25 pounds. Come on, you got it. I know you can do 25.
Gosh.
There you go. Good job. All right. Y'all both torque some rocker arms. Let's throw it to a time lapse and we'll finish torquing them all up. All right, get the stab in the crown jewel here. What is this called? Any guesses?
A shaft? A gear shaft?
Yeah, you're close. I mean, you're not wrong.
A crankshaft?
It's the distributor.
Ah.
So I got a little notch here that I made where I like to keep my number one at.
Oh, wait.
The motor's still on top dead center.
Top dead center.
So let's see if
Wait, that's the big hole? Wait, a big hole? Wait, I thought the big hole was back here. Wait.
There we go. What you doing?
Scraping off all of this grease.
Getting it cleaned up with the purple power. That way the new engine goes in a nice, clean, fresh engine bay. Nice. Good job. Snow, you helping? You eating the grease? I bet when we fry her up, she'll be extra greasy. No, we could never eat snow. We could never eat you snow. All right, bud. Good job. Keep on trucking on. I got the motor hooked up to the chain hoist. I got it pretty much all put back together as much as I want to put it back together outside the engine bay. I'm about to pull it off this engine stand, put a new rear main seal in it, and grab the transmission over there and install it back on this motor. Stab it back in the engine bay. My son did an awesome job degreasing this frame and engine bay for me. So it's gonna go back in to a nice clean engine bay. Got a nice clean motor and hopefully it'll stay like that for a while. This thing's got all new seals in it, so it shouldn't be leaking. I'm gonna put a new seal on the back of the transmission, make sure that don't leak. And she should be good to go for a long time. Anyways, I'm gonna get this thing off this engine stand and start getting this rear main seal in and clutch and all that good stuff. So y'all follow along. Before I mount the clutch and transmission and everything to the back of this motor, I'm gonna go ahead and replace this rear main seal. All you need is a little flathead screwdriver and just pop it out. Work your way around it. This one wasn't in too bad a shape, but again, the only way you can change this is if you pull your transmission out. That's the only way to access this, so easier to do it now than later down the road. And I'm just gonna use some brake clean that out. A little WD-40 to lube it back up. This is a Felpro seal. That's the back. And the front is just smooth. And this little plastic piece right here is a guide to help you slide it on. Give it a little WD-40. Help it slide on there. Take your little rubber mallet. Help you get it on there. Once you get it on there, you can pull that out your way. Just keep working your way around. So I got my new rear main seal installed. I got my new pilot bushing installed. I got this plate installed right here, and I got my flywheel on there. I'm going to put some Loctite on these flywheel bolts just to make sure they don't back out. Sometimes they will, and again, it's a big mess. If you want to fix it, you gotta tear your daggum whole transmission out. So better safe than sorry. I'm gonna put some red Loctite on them and then torque them down to they're 75 to 85, so I'm gonna go in the middle and do 80, and we should be good. Then I'll throw my pressure plate on there, and then we're pretty close to putting this transmission back on the back of here. So we get some of this good stuff right here, and you're gonna want to torque these down kind of like you torque down a wheel on a truck, not in a circle, but in a star pattern. All right, that's all torqued. I'm gonna hit this with some brake clean just to get any residual oils off. You want a nice clean oilless surface for your pressure plate and clutch to bolt up to. So we should be good there. I'm gonna go grab the pressure plate. I'm gonna throw this clutch on there. Make sure you get one of these clutch alignment tools. It'll make your life a whole lot easier. Got my pressure plate here. Make sure it ain't got no oils on it. And I got some new ARP bolts that I'm going to use to hold this pressure plate on. I'm also going to install these with a little bit of Loctite. Just check and make sure that goes in and out real good. Means you're all lined up. And the torque on these is going to be 35 foot-pounds. All right, clutch, flywheel, pressure plate, all installed. It's ready to be bolted back up to the trans. After a little dance between these two, I got the transmission back in. And I'm gonna put some Loctite on these bolts because when I went to go separate these after I had pulled them out of the truck, a couple of these were really loose. And I know I had them good and tight, so this time they're getting some Loctite so they don't back out. Because that is the last thing I want. Be driving down the street and my drag-on transmission decides that I don't want to be attached to the truck anymore. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and get this all bolted up. I'll throw it to time lapse. All right, here we go. Hopefully the last time this motor's going in and coming out for a long time. Heck yeah. Oh man, what an accomplishment. It's been a long process, but she's finally back in her home. The Explorer oil pan fits perfectly in the F-150. I was worried about that, but it's got plenty of room. Awesome. Yes. Oh man, that is a relief. It is all back in. Now it's just buttoning everything back up, and hopefully she fires up and sounds great. We got a big car show this weekend called Rumble at the Ranch in Jacksonville, Florida. If you haven't been to it, you gotta come. It's one of the best shows in the Southeast. And hopefully, if all goes well, I got a couple more days to button it up, and then it's car show time. So, fingers crossed, everything goes good after this. Well, the truck ran great. All that hard work and help from my wife and kids here. It was a success. I'm extremely tired. It has been a thrash getting this thing built over the last couple of weeks. Lots of late nights, but it all paid off. It's running great and better than ever. Motor sounds good, runs good. It's quick, shifts gears good. Now we're gonna get it looking good because this weekend is Rumble at the Ranch, one of the biggest car shows here in Northeast Florida. Probably one of the biggest in the Southeast. And we've been building this truck for a few years here on the channel. If you're new to the channel, there's many videos on this truck when we first brought it home to where it is now. But this is gonna be its first ever car show.
First car show.
First time ever. It's making its debut. So we're gonna get her shined up here, get her washed up, and get her loaded up on the trailer so we can haul it to the car show. Gotta say a big thanks to my family here. They did a lot of work on this truck and I really appreciate them. It's been a fun, stressful process, but a lot more fun than stress overall.
Yeah, good project.
But anyways, guys, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. If you would, hit that like button if you don't mind. Just helps the channel out and lets the YouTube know y'all like this content. And if you really want to be cool, hit that subscribe button. That way you can stay tuned for all of our other builds and projects, and go watch our previous videos on all the other stuff we drug home through the years and rebuilt. But anyways, we'll catch you guys on the next one. Throw them the peace sign. Peace.